My daughter's 17, and my sister said she couldn't come to the wedding because she was too young. I didn't argue or cause a fuss, I just told her, well then, we won't be going at all. But when Christmas rolled around, I made one quiet change, and suddenly, my whole family lost their minds. Name's Nora, by the way. I'm the oldest of 3 sisters. Growing up, that pretty much meant I had to be the responsible one right out of the gate. I was the helper. The built-in babysitter. The one who stepped in when Mom and Dad were too wiped out or distracted to deal with things. I didn't really mind it, especially at the start. That was just the way things worked in our house. Tessa was the middle child, the entertainer, the one who always had the spotlight on her. And Vanessa, the youngest, well, she was the baby. She could do no wrong and pretty much got away with everything. Meanwhile, I was the one left cleaning up after everybody else. As I got older and became a mom myself, some things shifted, but not all that much, to be honest. I adopted my daughter, Lila, when she was just 3 years old. She had these big, thoughtful eyes and this quiet, careful way of watching everything, like she didn't quite trust the world yet. I still remember the first time she called me Mom. After I dropped her off at preschool that day, I sat in the car and cried. Right from the start, I made her a promise. She would never feel like she wasn't wanted in this family. Not ever again. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't keep that promise. Tessa got engaged last spring. Big news, big ring, big splashy caption on Instagram. Of course, I congratulated her. Lila even made her a card, cut out little wedding bells and glued them on, way too much glitter and all. Tessa said it was sweet, but then she left the card in the back seat of her car. 2 weeks later, I found it there, half crushed under an old Starbucks cup. Still, Lila stayed excited about the wedding. She'd started browsing dresses online and asking if she should wear her hair up or leave it down. I could tell she was nervous, but she had hope. She really wanted to be part of it all. Then the wedding invite arrived in the mail. One of those fancy ones, heavy paper, gold trim, looked like it cost more than my water bill for the month. I opened it right there at the kitchen counter while Lila sat at the table doing her homework. The usual stuff, location, dress code, RSVP link, and then I saw it. Adults only. 18 and over strictly enforced. No exceptions. I read it twice, thinking maybe I missed something, but nope. It was clear. Lila must have seen the look on my face, because before I could even say anything, she looked up and asked. She doesn't want me there? I told her. It's an 18-plus wedding. She went quiet for a moment, then asked. Is it because I'm adopted? And that right there? That sentence cracked something inside me. She said it so calmly, like it was just this sad little truth she'd come to accept. I told her no, absolutely not. But I knew what she meant. This wasn't the first time something like this had happened, not exactly like this, but close enough. Smaller moments. Slippery little comments. Like the time my mom introduced her as Nora's girl, instead of just saying, our granddaughter. Or when Tessa would say, your daughter. Like Lila was some neighbor kid I was just watching for the weekend. At family holidays, she'd offer to help out in the kitchen, and folks wouldn't even acknowledge her. I tried to tell myself it wasn't on purpose, that they didn't realize how it came across. But this time? This time it was clear as day. I didn't yell. I didn't send a long message. I just got online and clicked. Not attending. No notes, no explanation. Just, no. I figured that would be the end of it. But the next day, Tessa texted me. Hey, just saw your RSVP. Everything okay? Then came a follow-up. If this is about the age thing, I hope you understand, we're being super consistent with everyone. Nothing personal. Sure. Nothing personal. Except Lila's her niece. And she's 17, not 7. I didn't respond. Then Vanessa messaged me. Tessa said you're not coming? What's going on? After that, my mom called me. She never calls just to chat, so I picked up already bracing myself. Nora, she said, I heard you're not going to the wedding. Is this really about the age limit? I told her. Lila's not invited. I'm not going without her. She's almost 18, my mom said. It's not like she's a little kid. She's family. Then she paused. Don't punish your sister over this. It's just one night. I didn't argue. I just said, "We're not going," and hung up. I figured that would be it. But then came the group chat messages. The guilt trips. The not-so-subtle digs. Vanessa. Can't believe you're making such a big deal over one rule. You always have to stir up drama. Tessa. Lila's not the only one not coming. This isn't about her. You're the one making it about her. Then my mom sent a long message, something about forgiveness and family unity. How we've all made sacrifices. How it's hard being in the middle. I didn't reply. Lila quietly deleted the dress photos from her phone. She stopped talking about the wedding. She didn't cry. But that's the part that really got to me, how she wasn't even surprised. She'd already figured out what I had spent way too long pretending not to see. So when Christmas came and not a single one of them had apologized or even brought it up, I made a quiet choice. I didn't invite them. No big announcement. No blow-up. Just silence. And that's what really set them off. If you'd asked me 10 years ago what motherhood would look like, I would have said birthday parties, sticky hugs, glitter all over the place. Not this. Not shielding a kid from people who claimed to love us both. When Lila came into my world, she was 3 years old and heartbreakingly serious. Big brown eyes, soft curls, and a quiet look that made you feel like she was soaking up your every word, just in case she needed to protect herself later. She didn't warm up fast. She didn't laugh on cue or come running into my arms like you see in the movies. But the first time she reached out and grabbed my hand at the grocery store, without me asking, I sat in the parking lot and cried for 10 minutes. It was my husband Caleb who said, "That's the moment she chose you." And from that day on, I've been choosing her right back. Every single day. But my family? They never really figured out what to do with her. At first, I blamed it on the awkwardness. Said they just needed time. She didn't have my eyes, hadn't taken my last name yet. She didn't jump into conversations at dinner the way the other kids did. But after a while, I realized it was more than that. Like how my mom would call her, the little one, instead of just saying her name. Or how Tessa once asked, "Are you going to tell her she's adopted when she's older?" While Lila was standing right there. I remember how Vanessa's kids got Easter baskets from our parents with their names stitched right on them, while Lila's was the plain one, just a generic "Happy Spring" tag. It wasn't loud or obvious. It was more subtle than that. Quiet enough that if you wanted to excuse it, you could. But Lila? She noticed. She always did. I tried my best to be patient through it all. I'd explain things, try to soften the blow, give folks the benefit of the doubt. When Lila was 6, she told my dad she wanted to be an artist someday. He just smiled and said, "Well, you'll need to pick something more practical than that." When she was 8, she drew a picture of our little family, me, Caleb, and her, and gave it to my mom. Mom smiled politely, said thanks, then set it down like it was nothing, and never brought it up again. Later, Lila asked why her drawing wasn't on the fridge like all the other cousins' pictures. I didn't know how to answer her. The first time I really lost my cool over any of this was at Vanessa's engagement party. Lila was 12 then. We'd gotten an invite, or well, sort of. It came through as a group text with a date, time, and venue. That was it. No, can't wait to see you. No personal message. But we went anyway. I told myself this is how we make it better. We keep showing up. We keep showing them who Lila is. Lila wore this pale blue dress and a pair of little silver flats she'd picked out herself. She kept asking if she looked okay, if she could stay close to me. She was nervous. When we got there, Vanessa greeted us with a quick smile and a flat "Hi," then turned away to hug someone else. She didn't say a word to Lila. No compliment, no "Wow, look how grown up you are." Just nothing. We didn't stay long, 20 minutes, maybe 25. Lila stayed glued to my side the whole time. On the drive home, she said, "I don't think she likes me." I tried to smooth it over. I said, "She doesn't know you." But Lila just looked out the window and said, "She's had 10 years. And I didn't have a comeback for that. I don't think my family ever truly accepted that Lila was permanent. It's like part of them believed she was just a placeholder until I had a real kid. Like this would all one day be a sweet memory. Remember when Nora fostered that little girl? They never said it outright. They didn't have to. For Lila's 16th birthday last year, we rented a room at the community center and decorated it with her art. That was her idea. She didn't want a big party or loud music. She just wanted to display her paintings, serve cupcakes, and invite the people who had always believed in her. She made the invitations herself, sent them to family, friends, and a few of her favorite teachers. Vanessa didn't come. Neither did Tessa. My parents showed up late, half an hour in, and handed her a card that said, "To a sweet girl," with a $20 bill tucked inside. Lila thanked them, as always. She's unfailingly polite. Afterward, she didn't say much. She helped me clean up and loaded her canvases back into the car. But later that night, after the dishes were done and the house was quiet, I found one of her sketches. It was a drawing of the three of us, her, me, and Caleb, at the party. Only our faces were blank. That's when something shifted in me. That's when I stopped hoping they would ever change. Not because of the late arrival, or the lazy card, or the missed opportunity. But because Lila wasn't even hurt anymore, not in the same way. She didn't expect better. And that scared me more than anything else. So when Tessa's wedding invitation never came, not even a phone call, not one word, I already knew what I had to do. I didn't beg or plead. I didn't ask them to make an exception. I just told Lila we wouldn't be going. She didn't cry. She just nodded and said, "Okay." Later that night she asked me, "Do you think they even noticed we weren't there?" And I said, "Yes." Because she needed to feel like she mattered. Even if they didn't act like it. That weekend, while they were off at the wedding, we stayed home. Caleb made French toast. Lila painted in the sunroom. I sat on the couch and read a whole book from start to finish. It wasn't about revenge. It wasn't a silent protest. It was just peace. And honestly, it felt strange at first. A quiet that made you realize how much noise you'd been drowning in for years. I didn't miss the ceremony. Didn't wonder what the flowers looked like or if the cake was good. All I thought about was Lila. About how she used to hang on every little comment, every holiday, every family dinner, hoping to feel included. And how, slowly, they taught her not to expect it. Then I started thinking ahead, to the next holiday. How I'd been hosting Christmas for years, mostly out of obligation. Inviting them in. Feeding them. Pretending like their half-hearted effort was enough. But this time, I wasn't going to. This time, I was going to do things differently. Caleb asked me in early December, "Should I order the usual folding chairs?" I shook my head. "No extra seats this year." He didn't push. Lila didn't ask. And then the group chat lit up. "Who's bringing dessert to Nora's this year? Should we come the night before like always?" I didn't say a word. I just watched the messages pile up unread. I never announced I wasn't hosting. Didn't post a dramatic status or make a speech. Didn't tell anyone to go find some other house to eat their ham and serve up their passive aggression. I just stayed quiet. And somehow, that silence turned out to be the loudest thing I'd ever done. Around December 15th, the text started rolling in. "Nora, are we still doing Christmas Eve dinner at your place? Let me know what I should bring." Tessa chimed in, "Of course. We'll be 5 again. Let me know if Lila wants anything this year." Then she added, "If she's even going to be there this time." That one stung. If she's even going to be there this time. Like Lila had done something wrong. Like her being uninvited to their wedding was somehow her fault. I didn't respond. For the first time in years, I didn't deep clean the house top to bottom. Didn't pre-order a roast. Didn't haul out the folding chairs or drag the big table leaf out of the garage. Then the phone calls started. First my mom. I let it ring. Then Vanessa. Then Tessa. My dad left a voicemail. "Nora, we just want to know what's going on. Your mother's upset. It's not too late to do the right thing." The right thing. As if the right thing meant hosting people who had no place for my daughter. As if feeding them could fix what they refused to even acknowledge. We didn't host anyone that Christmas. Instead, Caleb and I made lasagna in our pajamas while Lila baked sugar cookies that barely held their shape. We stayed home, watched movies, and opened our presents early. And we laughed, more than we had in a long, long time. Honestly, it just felt normal. In a way our holidays never quite had before. Nobody was tiptoeing around like they were walking on broken glass. There weren't any jabs hidden inside, just kidding comments. And the room didn't go stiff every time Lila walked in. It was just us. And it was peaceful. That's when the tone of the messages started shifting. December 26th. Tessa wrote something in the family group chat. "I just think it's sad," she said. "We've all tried to welcome Lila, but Nora's made it impossible to build a relationship with her." Then Vanessa chimed in. "I mean, if you cut people off every time you disagree, you'll wind up alone. And my dad? He dropped this. The way you're handling this is hurtful. I'm sorry, but it is. My mom sent me a picture of their Christmas tree." The caption read, "It wasn't the same without you. Lila would have loved her gifts." But I didn't answer. Because those weren't presents for Lila. They were guilt disguised as generosity. One more tug on the leash to come back and act like none of this ever happened. And I'd played along long enough. A few days later, a card showed up in the mail. No return address, but I recognized the handwriting immediately. Inside, my mom had written, "I wish you'd consider the example you're setting. Lila's going to learn how easily you shut people out." That line stuck with me. Because the truth is, I do want Lila to see that. Not to teach her that love is disposable, but to show her that real love never asks you to make yourself small. It doesn't expect you to stay quiet just because your hurt makes other people uncomfortable. Lila never asked me about any of the texts. She could feel the tension though. I know she could. She's never been the type to confront things head on. She just observes, takes everything in like she's still mapping out which corners of the world feel safe. One night she was curled up on the couch under a blanket, sketchbook in her lap. She paused, then asked, "If I wasn't adopted, do you think they'd like me more?" That one hit me straight in the chest. I sat down beside her. "Sweetheart," I said, "they might be better at pretending. But the way they treat people who aren't just like them, that was never about you." She looked up at me with those steady, thoughtful eyes, the same look she had the day I first met her, and said, "I don't think I want them to like me anymore." That was the moment I let go of waiting for an apology. A few days later, my dad called again. I let it go to voicemail. Then he sent a text. "Your mother can't sleep. She feels like she's lost you. We know we've made mistakes, but that doesn't mean you get to push everyone away. That's not who you are." I stared at that line, "That's not who you are." And for years I questioned that. I used to worry, am I being too cold? Too sensitive? Too unforgiving? But not anymore. Now I know exactly who I am. I'm someone who's figured out what she will and won't put up with. Someone who understands that keeping the peace shouldn't cost your child their dignity. That's not grace. That's fear in a holiday sweater. Then Tessa sent a voice memo. One of those carefully worded rants where every concern comes with a blade tucked inside. She said, "I just think it's sad, Nora. You used to make such a big deal about how much you love Lila. But now it feels like you're using her as a shield. Like if someone doesn't treat her like a princess, you shut them out. That's not healthy. That's not parenting. That's obsession." I didn't finish listening. I deleted it. Then I blocked her number. Because if standing up for Lila, loving her with every part of me, makes me look obsessed in their eyes, then sure. I'm obsessed. Utterly and unapologetically obsessed with protecting the girl who needed someone to fight for her. And no guilt trip or half-baked apology will ever make me regret that. New Year's came and went quietly. Lila was asleep on the couch before midnight, a half-eaten sugar cookie in her hand. Caleb and I clinked tea mugs instead of champagne glasses and watched the fireworks on mute. He turned to me and asked, "Do you miss them?" I thought about it. "No," I said. "I miss the version of them I imagined. But I don't think that version ever actually existed." He nodded. Didn't say anything. Just reached for my hand. I don't know what's going to happen next. Maybe they'll keep trying. People like that don't back off easily. There'll probably be more texts. More social media posts. Maybe one of them will even show up at Lila's graduation next year like everything's fine. But I've made my choice. No dramatic scene. No screaming match. Just distance. Steady, quiet, and final. And sometimes silence is louder than anything you could say out loud. It was a Thursday. Cold and gray outside, quiet enough that I noticed the hum of the fridge. I just walked in from work, hadn't even taken off my coat, when the doorbell rang. Wasn't expecting anyone. Caleb was still at work. Lila was upstairs working on a portfolio project for college. I opened the door, and there they were. My parents. Just standing there on my porch like it was 15 years ago, and nothing had ever gone wrong. My mom had a plastic container in her hands. Cookies, I think. Probably oatmeal, soft in the middle, a little too crispy at the edges. The kind she used to bake when I was a kid. "Nora," she said, smiling like this was all normal. "We thought we'd stop by." I just stared at the cookies in her hands like they might explode. My dad shifted awkwardly beside her. "Can we come in? Just for a few minutes?" "No," I said. There was a beat of surprise. But not long enough for me to care. My mom tried again, softening her tone. "We just want to talk. Things got a little tense, but we're still family." She held out the cookies like a white flag. I didn't take them. That's when the friendliness started slipping. "You don't have to do this," she said, voice getting tight. "We know it's been hard, raising a teenager, cutting everyone else out." My dad stepped in, adding, "We've been patient. We gave you space. But now this? You're going to toss away your real family over a girl who's leaving in a few months." My stomach turned. "She's 17, my mom added. "Soon she'll be off at college. Then what? You'll be alone. And you'll regret this." And I heard it, the real message behind the words. This wasn't about making peace. It was about power. Then my mom said what I think she's believed all along. "I'm sorry, Nora. But she's not blood. She's not really one of us." She said it gently. Like it was some hard truth I'd thank her for saying. Like she expected me to come to my senses and say, "You're right. I lost my way." But instead I took a breath, stepped back, and said, "You need to go. Now." My dad blinked, stunned. "Nora." "No," I said louder. "You don't get to come here with cookies and pity and act like this is kindness. You don't get to insult my daughter to my face and then wonder why I'm not inviting you in. You're going to regret this." My mom said again, her voice cracking now. "When she leaves you, when she forgets about you, you'll see. Our door will still be open. You'll come back. You'll realize we were right." I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. I closed the door, locked it, and leaned against it until I couldn't hear their footsteps anymore. I told Lila the next day. I wasn't going to. I didn't want her to carry their poison. But I've never lied to her. Not about anything important. She sat very still while I told her what they said. About her leaving. About not being blood. About me crawling back one day. She didn't cry. But I could see it in her hands, how tightly she clenched them in her lap. How her shoulders stiffened. "They really think I'll leave you," she said. "No," I said. "They hope you will. That way I'll need them again." She nodded slowly. "They don't get to hope things about me," she said. I thought that would be the end of it. I should have known better. Because a week later, my cousin Jenna forwarded me an email that Vanessa had sent to the extended family. It was long. Rambling. Passive-aggressive in the way only Vanessa could be. But the point was clear. She told them I had abandoned the family for a girl who manipulated her way into Nora's life and isolated her from everyone else. She implied Lila had been difficult, distant, and ungrateful. That my relationship with her was unhealthy. That I was obsessed with protecting her from imaginary slights. It was vile. And worse, it worked. People started reaching out. Aunt Marilyn texted me asking if I was okay. Uncle Frank called Caleb, asking if I was having a breakdown. My second cousin Tessa left a comment on one of Lila's art posts. "You're very lucky. Don't forget who gave you a home." Lila saw it. I saw her see it. And that was the last straw. I didn't write a response. I wrote a dossier. Screenshots. Messages. Photos. Every ignored invitation. Every exclusion. Every receipt. I wrote a letter. Not emotional. Not angry. Just facts. I sent it to the extended family only once. With the subject line, "For those who wanted the full story." I didn't ask for sides. I didn't demand apologies. I just gave them the truth. Some replied. Some didn't. A few quietly unfriended Vanessa. A few didn't believe a word I said. It didn't matter. Because I wasn't doing it for them. I was doing it for Lila. So she'd never question whether she imagined it. So she'd never ask again, do you think they'd like me if I was blood? After that, I blocked everyone who tried to argue. Everyone who said, but maybe if you just talked it out. Everyone who thought keeping peace was more important than protecting a child from emotional abuse disguised as family tradition. We never heard from them again. Not directly. I'm sure they still talk about us. I'm sure I'm the story they tell at parties when someone brings up estranged children. I'm sure Lila's name is still spoken in tight judgmental tones. Let them talk. They lost their right to know her. Fast forward. Lila's in college now. Art program. Top of her class. She still calls me every night. Not out of obligation. Just habit. She sends pictures of her sketches. Sometimes she asks for my opinion. Sometimes she just wants to say goodnight. When I dropped her off at her dorm, she hugged me for a full minute. And whispered, I'm not going anywhere. She meant physically, maybe. But I knew what she really meant. People say you can't choose your family. I did. I chose her. Over blood. Over guilt. Over years of learned silence. And if they still think I'll come crawling back one day, let them wait. Sometimes I still think about that moment on the porch. My mother handing me those cookies like they could undo years of silence. Like sugar could fix what they never had the courage to say out loud. And sometimes, late at night, I wonder if I overreacted. If I should have tried harder. Stayed quieter. Been more forgiving. But then I remember the look on Lila's face when I told her, they don't get to treat you like that. I remember how tightly she hugged me when she left for college. I remember that I promised her something no one ever promised me growing up. That I'd choose her every time. Do you think I did the right thing? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe.